So today we're going to be going through mounting the ZiZZO sensor onto a bike. I have the parts that we're using that come inside the box when you receive it. Basically, we're going to use the wider O-ring with the speed sensor and the curved gasket. And these three parts are going to mount onto the bike's hub. And then the Cadence sensor with the flat gasket and the smaller O-ring is going to mount onto a crank arm. So mounting the speed sensor, I like to mount it onto the rear hub, and that's because if you use it on a trainer, it still will function properly. But if you mount it onto the front hub, it's stationary on the trainer and it's not going to pick up or read your workout. The Cadence sensor is going to be mounted onto the crank arm. I like to mount it onto the non-drive side. It's just easier and cleaner. You don't have to deal with working around the chain ring. Starting with the speed sensor, if you notice, if you flip it over to the back, there's a notch on the rubber gasket that fits inside the hole of the sensor. So just place that on there and you can see it's going to mount onto the hub like this. I like to start by first putting the O-ring on one side, and then you kind of thread it inside there. Place the sensor on the hub, making sure that that rubber O-ring, doesn't pop out. So making sure it's there. And then just gradually work it around. If you have really long fingers, that might be very helpful. If you have very small hands, that also might be helpful. Bring it around like this, get it around one of the arms. You see how I have it around one of the arms of the sensor. Bring it around the other side of the sensor, and then just let it go, and that's it. Make sure it's secure, make sure it doesn't move around. The Cadence sensor, again, you'll notice on the back has that hole, and this little tab fits inside the hole. You'll also notice this gasket is flat, doesn't have that curve on there. You notice I have the O-ring mounted here on the arms. I'm going to start from the bottom, and it's just easier to bring it up over the top so I can see more clearly. Get it on one side, bring that O-ring around to the other side, and then just release, and now you'll notice it's on there, it's secure, not going to go anywhere. There are different apps that you can use. I'm going to show the simpler XOS app. I'm going to open that up. You're going to click on the sensor, and then you're going to activate the device by simply moving it. So as I pedal the bike, it should pick up the sensors. It's picked up the speed sensor now, and now it's picked up the Cadence sensor. So now you can see the units are paired. And I'm going to hit the back button, and you can see my sensors. I've got the ZiZZO S and the ZiZZO C, speed and cadence. And now, if you go to the record function, and as I pedal, you can see it's going to read my speed. The speed is in black, and then this blue is the RPM or your cadence. And then when you press start, it'll start recording your distance. So even if you're using the sensors indoors on a trainer or some other indoor unit, you'll still be able to record your workout. So you've picked up the sensors, you've picked up the trainers, you've got them all installed, and you've finished your first workout, and you feel, man, that didn't feel like it gave me as much of a workout as I wanted to. So one of the things that we tell our customers is you can always adjust the gears. So as you're riding the bike, you can shift it into, if you have the Liberté 8th gear, that'll increase the resistance that you feel. Some riders may want a little bit more resistance, a little bit more of a workout. And if that's the case, no problem. You can still add more resistance, even if you've maxed out your gearing here. So when you set up your trainer, you got it so the flywheel is in contact with the tire, and a good way to tell if you have enough contact on there is if you give the wheel a little turn and the freewheel moves with the wheel, that's sufficient pressure. That's about as tight as you want it to get a good workout. But if you want a little bit more oomph, no problem. You can give the flywheel adjustment knob one or two more turns. What that does is it's going to increase the amount of rolling resistance, and it's going to give you a harder workout. If you're a really strong rider and you want a little bit more resistance, give it another turn or two, up to about 5 or 6 additional turns past that ideal contact point is fine. You're not going to damage the bike, you're not going to damage the trainer. What you're going to do is you're going to give yourself more of a workout. One thing you'll notice as you do increase the tension, if you look straight down, you're flattening that tire. So you're taking the curve out of that tire, and that's what rolling resistance is. You're basically fighting the curve of the tire, making it flat, and that gives you more of a workout.